Welcome everyone to this evening's debate, where we delve into a question that touches many of us. Should a mandatory 20% tip be legally enforced in food service? It's a topic that elicits strong opinions, and we have two distinguished guests to share their perspectives. Arguing for the proposal is Liam Chen, a former waiter and now a respected hospitality industry analyst. He believes this measure is crucial for fair worker compensation. And arguing against is Sophia Dubois, an experienced restaurant owner and economist who raises concerns about customer freedom and business impact. We will begin with opening statements, followed by rebuttals, a moderated discussion, and then closing statements. Let's maintain a respectful and insightful dialogue.
Thank you, Isabel. The question before us isn't merely about tips. It's about the financial stability and dignity of thousands of service workers. For too long, those in the food service industry, particularly front-of-house staff, have endured the unpredictability of a system reliant on voluntary tipping. This isn't just about a bad night. It's about enduring weeks, even months, where earnings fluctuate wildly, making budgeting and financial planning nearly impossible. A mandatory 20% service charge, legally enforced, would establish a reliable income floor. This isn't a radical idea. Many countries have successfully implemented similar systems, ensuring that hospitality professionals are compensated fairly for their labor, irrespective of a customer's mood or arbitrary tipping habits. Furthermore, such a system has the potential to significantly reduce the often discussed wage disparity between front-of-house and back-of-house staff. With a structured and transparent distribution of this service charge, we can ensure that cooks, dishwashers, and other essential kitchen staff also benefit. Some may argue this is about taking away choice, but I argue it's about providing security. When workers aren't perpetually worried about making rent or affording groceries, their stress levels decrease. Consequently, they are better equipped to focus on what they do best, providing excellent service. A guaranteed income fosters a more professional environment, reduces staff turnover, and ultimately benefits the customer experience. It's time we moved beyond a system that often feels like a lottery, and towards one that values service work as a legitimate profession deserving of stable, predictable, and fair compensation.
Thank you, Isabel. While I wholeheartedly agree with Liam on the importance of fair compensation for service staff, I fundamentally disagree that a legally enforced 20% tip is the appropriate or effective solution. My primary concern lies with the infringement on customer freedom. Tipping, in its traditional sense, is a voluntary expression of gratitude for good service received. It's a direct communication between the customer and the server. Mandating a 20% charge removes this crucial element of discretion and turns a gesture of appreciation into an unavoidable tax. What incentive remains for a server to go above and beyond if their compensation is guaranteed regardless of their performance? Moreover, let's consider the economic implications for both consumers and businesses. Restaurants, especially smaller independent establishments like my own, operate on often thin margins. If we are legally required to add a 20% service charge, we face a difficult choice: absorb this cost, which might be unsustainable, or pass it on to consumers by increasing menu prices. This would inevitably make dining out more expensive, potentially deterring customers and reducing overall business. This isn't just speculation. We've seen in some areas where similar measures were trialed that menu prices did indeed rise, sometimes significantly, leading to customer dissatisfaction. Furthermore, the argument that service quality will automatically improve is, in my view, overly optimistic. Complacency can set in when reward is not directly tied to effort. Instead of fostering excellence, a mandatory charge might inadvertently shield mediocre service. There are also concerns about how such a system would be managed, the potential for disputes, and the administrative burden on businesses. We need solutions that support workers without crippling businesses or alienating our valued customers.
Sophia raises the point about customer freedom. But I must ask, what about the freedom of service workers from economic precarity? The freedom of inconsistent tipping often translates to the exploitation of workers, who are at the mercy of factors far beyond the quality of service they provide. A slow Tuesday night, a customer having a bad day, these can drastically impact a server's earnings, and that's hardly a fair system. This isn't about a tax. It's about recognizing service as integral to the dining experience. Just like the food itself, regarding potential price increases, transparency is key. Instead of the current system, where menu prices are kept artificially lower because businesses rely on tips to subsidize wages, a mandatory service charge makes the true cost of dining out explicit. Consumers would see the full picture, price of food and price of service. This is arguably fairer than the current opaque system, where the burden of ensuring a living wage falls disproportionately and unreliably on the customer's goodwill at the end of the meal. Moreover, the link between financial stability and worker performance is well documented across industries. Reduced financial stress leads to lower turnover, which saves businesses significant training and recruitment costs. It also fosters a more experienced professional staff, who are more invested in their roles and, consequently, more likely to provide consistent, high-quality service. This isn't about rewarding complacency. It's about creating an environment where excellence can flourish because basic needs are met.
Liam speaks passionately about fair wages, and on that we are aligned. However, a legally enforced tip is a blunt instrument for a nuanced problem. There are other, more direct ways to ensure fair compensation, such as employers committing to higher base wages. This would provide stability without stripping away the customer's ability to reward exceptional service, or, conversely, withhold a tip for genuinely poor service. The power of that direct feedback mechanism shouldn't be underestimated. As for the service quality argument, I remain skeptical that a guaranteed 20% will universally translate to better service. In jurisdictions with mandatory service charges, anecdotal evidence and some studies suggest that while average service might remain acceptable, the highs of truly outstanding personalized service can diminish. When the financial incentive for that extra effort is removed, it's human nature for some to perform only to the required standard. We risk a homogenization of service, where it's consistently fine but rarely exceptional. Furthermore, the impact on small businesses cannot be brushed aside. Many independent restaurants are passion projects, not corporate giants. Mandating a significant fixed labor cost increase, regardless of daily turnover or seasonal fluctuations, could push many to the brink. This could lead to fewer diverse dining options for consumers and, ironically, job losses if businesses are forced to close or reduce staff to manage these inflexible costs. Preserving consumer choice and business viability is paramount.
Thank you both for those compelling rebuttals. Liam, if a 20% tip is mandatory, how would the system differentiate between truly excellent service and mediocre service? Is there a risk, as Sophia suggested, of rewarding poor performance and disincentivizing staff from going that extra mile?
That's a valid concern, Isabel. A mandatory service charge ensures a fair baseline, but it doesn't preclude other forms of recognition for exceptional performance. Restaurants could implement bonus systems, employee of the month schemes, or allow for additional voluntary tipping for service that goes far above and beyond. The primary goal is to eliminate substandard wages, not to cap recognition for excellence. Moreover, management's role in training, setting service standards, and addressing underperformance remains crucial, just as it is now.
Sophia, many service workers currently live on unpredictable incomes, struggling to make ends meet. If not a mandatory tip, what concrete measures can ensure they receive a stable, livable wage, without placing the entire burden on business owners through drastically higher base wages, which you acknowledged can also be a challenge?
It's a complex balance, Isabel. One avenue is a more gradual, predictable increase in minimum base wages for tipped employees. coupled with robust tip pooling policies that are transparently managed to ensure fairness between front and back of house. Additionally, exploring models like service charges that are set by the restaurant, not legally mandated at a fixed high rate, allows businesses to tailor them to their specific circumstances and clientele. This might involve clear communication to customers about how these charges support staff wages, offering more flexibility than a one-size-fits-all legal mandate.
In closing, the debate over a mandatory 20% service charge is fundamentally about creating a more equitable and stable foundation for the hardworking individuals in the food service industry. We've discussed fair wages, the reduction of income disparity, and the professional dignity that comes with predictable earnings. A mandatory charge isn't a panacea, but it's a significant step towards recognizing service work as skilled labor deserving of consistent compensation. It moves us away from a system where a server's livelihood can be dictated by whim or bias. I envision a future where restaurant staff can build careers with financial security, leading to lower turnover, enhanced professionalism, and ultimately, a better dining experience for everyone. It's time we prioritize the well-being of these essential workers. This change is about valuing their contribution consistently and fairly. Thank you.
To conclude, while the goal of ensuring fair wages for service staff is one I share deeply, I maintain that a legally enforced 20% mandatory tip is a flawed mechanism. It infringes upon customer discretion, risks inflating prices for consumers, and could negatively impact the viability of many small restaurant businesses. The principle of tipping as a voluntary reward for good service is a valuable one, fostering a direct connection and incentive for excellence. We should explore alternative solutions, like progressive increases in base wages and employer-led service charge models that offer more flexibility, preserving customer choice and ensuring a dynamic, competitive restaurant sector are crucial. Let us seek solutions that genuinely support workers without imposing undue burdens or unintended negative consequences on the industry and its patrons. Thank you for considering these important counterpoints.
Thank you, Liam Chen and Sophia Dubois, for a thought-provoking and robust discussion on this complex issue. Your distinct perspectives have certainly illuminated the many facets of the mandatory tipping debate. We've heard compelling arguments concerning worker welfare, economic impacts, customer freedom, and service quality. It's clear there are no easy answers, but dialogues like these are essential in navigating towards solutions that are both equitable and practical. We encourage our audience to reflect on the points raised here today. Thank you for joining us, and good evening.